Out on a bike is a different experience. Time to go again. It seems cliche, but freedom you experience is unbelievable. To put this in perspective, I told Lisa I was making a quick bike ride and would be back in a few minutes. When I got back and was going through the video to put up that I shot that day, I saw I had it over an hour of tape. What I'm showing right now is the new GoPro clip that I got for the helmet. It's a nice little clip. It fits very snugly. It allows me to use the modular helmet pretty well, and I don't have any issues with that interfering with that release at the bottom of the helmet. So this is the first time out using that GoPro on the helmet. Most of the time it's been on the bike, and I can show you that, and I will show you that as we get further along in the ride. But you know, you just lose track of time. I mean, I'm just cruising down the road here, and where, you know, a curve like this, you know, a week ago would have been kind of intimidating, because I'm going downhill and making a right, and you can't see around these curves. So like I'm coming up on a hill here and I can't see around, but I'm working it a little better. You can see I'm still a little choppy, and the vehicles and the cars coming by don't seem to bug me anymore. So that's a reassuring feeling as a new rider. Having a little more confidence, but believe me, I'm still respecting the vehicle. It's coming up to the stop. This is always something that's a little awkward for me, and I'm not sure how this looks on the GoPro, but with it on the helmet. But coming out on this street, I really have to angle back to try and see who's coming, or if there's anyone coming. And there's a gap between when I look over there and look back, where, you know, I don't know if another car has, you know, been doing 70 miles an hour down that road and is going to fly out onto my tail. So I kind of have to take a chance at it and just launch from that position. Once I look, go back and launch. That's a little intimidating, because I don't want to be looking back and trying to go forward at the same time, because at least I've always been told, in my experience, it's kind of like the bike wants to go where you look. So I want to look in the direction I'm going, not looking at traffic that's coming. Making my turn was pretty straightforward. I didn't go off into that ditch. That was felt pretty comfortable, so I wasn't worried about that. Firehouse is right there. That's where I've been practicing. So on a shorter rides, and that's all I've been doing is short rides. But I would go to that firehouse and really just do figure of eights and slow turns, and kind of just trying to get a more of a feel for the motorcycle. It's hard to do in any situation unless you're not afraid you're going to run off a road or overshoot your turn. And at the same time, I suppose that takes away some of the that fear or that restriction that you're going to cross the line, because I didn't put any markers down. I'm trying to find a good practice spot, and I think the firehouse is okay, but I bought some of those little cones for the ground, and you can, you know, place those down and do your U-turns and stuff, just like the MSF course. You see the weather was awesome. I mean, just absolutely incredible. This is fall, obviously, and it was probably 65 to or so degrees, maybe close to 70 at this point. And everything just feels great coming through here. You know, I'm doing this as an overdub, and the reason I'm doing that, I haven't found a mic or a mic setup to use in the helmet. I'm just kind of working my way into all of this, and what I will do as I move forward, I will, try a different mic setup so that I can actually talk as I'm riding, and give some feedback about the trip. One of the things I wanted to point out, for myself and for anyone who's a beginner rider and who's learning as well, is that you really need to pay attention to your pre-ride check. It's kind of like in aviation when you do pre-flight checks and you're going down a checklist and ensuring that you've done everything before you go to the next step. When I got out on the road, I didn't show this, but when I got out, I realized that I was hearing this slapping sound against my helmet, and I thought, oh, I need to clip my chin strap around because it must be being caught in the wind. But the truth was, I didn't have it secured at all. I mean, I didn't have my chin strap on. And, that's just a lesson learned of, you don't want to have any distractions as you're riding the bike. And you want to make sure that you've paid attention to all the things you should. And you also have to have a system, and it has to be the same every time you get on the bike. Now, I have been doing, every time I get on the bike, T-clocks and going through tires, controls, lights, checking the oil, and the chassis and all that kind of stuff. It's been kind of a standard every time I get on the bike. And I think that's it's an incredibly wise thing to do. That's why they came up with it. So, but that in conjunction with doing all the other pre-checks, not getting on top of the bike until you have all your protective gear on. Always ride with the, boots of some sort that cover your ankles. Always wear gloves. iPro, if you don't have a full face helmet with a face shield, and I've got both. I mean, I've got my glasses on and I've got a full face shield as well. So this was the big day that I was going to go out and go a little bit further than I've ever gone before. And this is coming up onto Turkey Run Park. This is part of our parklands in Kentucky, Louisville, where I'm from. And lots of people take advantage of this park. Now, I came early in the morning for the very reason I didn't want to deal with traffic and things like that. But in all honesty, I've almost never seen this road, which is the road that goes through the park, busy with cars. You can see a lot of people there already in the morning, but they go and run, and there's a separate bike route and running route that people take, but they also use this one. The car in front of me was going really slow, I guess, trying to investigate where they were and what was going on. And I wasn't in a mood to pass. I was just going to ride it out and see what they did. And I wasn't in a hurry. So I just laid back at 15 miles an hour and practiced slow riding for a little bit. They start picking up speed and it gets a little bit better. This is actually a beautiful park. This part of it's not all that nice. I mean, it's just some grasslands on either side here, and they really haven't done a whole lot to this part of the park. But it is very hilly. You'll see that in a second. As we come up here, I think I kind of do a split screen and show what the GoPro was like just mounted to the motorcycle, and what it's like on the helmet, and the GoPro versions will pop in, and then actually the GoPro version on the bike, which is this view, and then it's going to slowly fade out to the side. It's really not a lot different. I think you get a broader view with the chin mount. You're not seeing the front end fairing so much, which is nice. I had this in cinematic mode. I think I need to try some other modes on the GoPro, like action or just other perspectives, just to get a better feel for what it will look like, to get more movement, because you don't see a lot of movement of my head, and I'm looking around a lot. So that's that stabilization coming into play. You know, that's intimidating. I mean, these are twisties coming down a hill. And I'm not going fast. Granted, I'm doing 20 to 25 miles an hour. Speed limit is 25. There are some times instinctively that I find myself controlling the bike, and other times I'm still saying to myself, okay, this is a right curve. I need to press on the right and relax on the left while leaning. You know, I actually found it helpful to say that out loud as I was doing this and as I was planning to take the next curve. That is, you know, what lane position should I be in and why? Just to have a better, I don't know, a briefing of what the plan is. That came in helpful as I was going along. Same thing with the turns here. I'm looking over here and I can't tell. A car just passed and I'm like, should I go? Should I not? A nice straightaway. I did not upshift a whole lot. I mean, I stayed in 3 and 4 throughout the ride. I used a lot of engine braking as I was going, just to help me do this. So, so here's a curve to the right. So I'm thinking I'm going right. I'm going to stay in P2 or P3 and make my turn. And then here's a left turn. I'm thinking I'm going to stay in 2 or 3 because, I don't want to lean into a car coming over. And I never found myself in P1, in the position 1 or the first segment of the lane, right next to the double line. In straightaways, when I was, kind of comfortable, I would be there. But most of the time, because of things like that, oncoming traffic, I'd be a little nervous about being too close to a car that's not observing the double line. You know what they say, most of the time the double line's just a suggestion, not a law for cars. So this is the silo, and we're at the park, and I've got a cool place that I found that most of the time doesn't have anybody there. And it's this parking lot right here to the right. And it's not a huge parking lot, but it's decent sized. See, people were practicing some circles there, donuts. But this is the part I want to use, but every time since I've found this place I've come through, there's been a car back there. There's a little figure, a circle in behind there. It's a turnaround. And I wanted to practice kind of going around that narrow road and turn around. But anyway, so this is where I will do some figure of 8 stuff and try and stay within 2 of the parking lane lines. I'm not that great at it right now. I'm still 24 feet. But the weather, gosh, I mean, just, when I got off the bike and I was just standing there, the wind was blowing, it was cool. Silo in the background, and yes, the Lowrider S, which I haven't named yet. It'll come soon. I'm getting a feel for it, for the bike. There he is putting his gloves on, looking around, looking like a motorbike rider, like a Harley rider. Looks like I'm going back over here to test to see if the guy has moved. No. Just a little U-turn. Big U-turn, that one. And I'm looking where I'm going, which is kind of good. That's a good sign. That turn again, left, right, left, right, right, left, 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 right, and then left again, and then left. A lot of looks, but you know, until I get that comfortable with launching the bike, I'm not gonna sweat it. Now this hill's pretty steep, and this is a little intimidating going down, but again, kind of engine braking, you know, is in 3 and staying at the speed limit, say 25. So I'm coming out of the park and getting ready to head on back, and this moment right up here occurred. Again, I mean, the day was just beautiful. God, I loved it. A lot more traffic coming back out. What's this? What happened? Yeah, that happened. So I'm gonna keep on riding and keep on enjoying this. I've got at least a couple more weeks of good weather, it looks like. So I'm gonna keep practicing and get a feel for the bike. Longer and longer rides. Today I gotta go out and get some gas, so longer ride to get some gas. So until next time, we'll see you. Enjoy the ride.